Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, please don't leave without subscribing. Subscribing is free of charge. Hit the red button and then the bell icon so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video. So today I'm out here for dinner at the Queen Elizabeth II ship. So as you can see guys, one floor down, I'll go to the top floor so you can see my view. This is my view guys, this is what I'm viewing. We have other boats there, we have another ship. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me show you a ship over there that's carrying people. So for me, I'm in Queen Elizabeth ship. It's a restaurant that's a ship. So you can see my view from the where I am. This is my view. So come with me guys, we go to the top floor. And this is how it is inside. These are the stairs. So I decided to use the stairs because I want to exercise. Even if I came for dinner, even if I'll be sweating, I'm using the stairs. We have the lifts, but I decided I want to use the stairs. So we are at the end of it.
No. I think I don't know which one to go.
We can take the lift. Or we want us to go down. Okay, guys, we're going down. See you down there.
We are considering here this particular model, and it is quite significant from where we have come from to where we are now. And in fact, the Cunard line started in 1830, and the owner, Samuel Cunard, invented the line. His original surname was Conrad, and they changed it via Depot in the 1830s to Cunard. And in fact, his father, very much an entrepreneur, and built the first wooden hull paddle steamer across the Atlantic all those years ago, and this is a model of that. Now, we'll go to the Grand Lounge later on. Can you imagine that this ship in reality would fit in the Grand Lounge? I mean, that's small by any stretch of the imagination. The QE2 is 105 feet wide, the Britannia was 38 feet wide. I mean, I would draw the line, frankly, at that. But, you know, very much a good representation of the ship there. And in fact, very popular, only lasted for 9 years, but when we consider a paddle wheel steamer on the Atlantic, 14 days, no, I mean, really rough conditions indeed. One thing quite Dickensian, I mean, they had two rooms on board. One was a dining room, the other was sort of a ladies' chat room, if you will. Gentlemen, if research is correct, would go to the after the deck here, actually, and have a chat, perhaps have a cigar, that sort of thing. They were standing very close to where the live cow was. One cow on board, if you can believe, providing milk for pregnant women, children and invalids. And if there were none of those on board, anybody drank the milk produced from the cow. But there we are, matters of fact. Any suggestions, what other animals do you think could have been on this ship all those years ago? A cow was, yes indeed. One cow, only one, but nonetheless it was there. Any other suggestions, but from the younger ones? Was that chickens? Did I hear chickens there? There were actually chickens on board as well, cats, dogs, rats. I mean, quite Dickensian. The older ones you already called Charles Dickens, the writer. He actually sailed on board the Britannia in 1842 and sailed back on the Russia, the ship over here, in 1844. So, you know, quite something in this day. Now, one thing, we won't be going to the Golden Lion pub later, but there's a tradition that started back in the day, and in fact in 1830, this is suggestive really of the first one that she did, which was probably about 15 countries in 90 days. When I was world cruising, over 4 months in 36 countries, it really did stretch out quite a bit. For example, we would visit at least 6 places in Australia and not 3, and that would suggest only going through the Suez Canal, where every other year we went around South Africa and back to the United Kingdom that way. But really suggestive of the types of places we would visit during that world cruise. Now on the far right, we can see here the QE2 can cater for up to 4,000 people in a single day. That's not big news anymore. These new ships are huge. But consider in my day there were 1,000 crew, and out of that 105 were chefs. So I mean 10% of the crew were chefs indeed. We ate very well in those days. And in my department alone, over 90 people in the entertainment. So the departments were quite huge. But nonetheless, a suggestion of the history of the ship. Now, these tables here and these chairs and settees were also on the ship when we were sailing. These were in the Queen's room, and these were scattered around the ship. So you may later, or have done so already, been sitting in history this evening as you're perhaps waiting to go on the ship. But let's go around now and have a look just at these books before we go down to the end of the museum, or QE2 library on them. These were all books from our library when we were in service all those years ago. We had over 6,000 titles in service. There are about 1,500 here. But what I find fascinating, they've got the stickers where passengers took them out, and even some with dates. Here we have January 07, so I mean really pieces of history, and our passengers here are more than welcome to have a look at these if you like books, of course, and quite good conditions considering they've been here for over 10 years, so quite something there indeed. I'd say you're more than welcome to have a look at those. And we'll go around now to
Guys, these are the seats and the tables that were used by Queen Elizabeth. Those ones, so we have been sitting here. We have been sharing those seats that were used by Queen Elizabeth. You can see them. They were in the Queen Elizabeth ship where I am having dinner. Then we have this article here. It's Laconia cup with the information there. It's saying 1992, the American Express Company initiated the first ever continuous navigating of the globe by passengers liner when the exclusive chartered Cunard's Laconia for the purpose.
we saw about medivacs. It wasn't that common considering we were taking 1,850 people a week. The ratio was quite low. But nonetheless, I'd say very advanced. Now, ironically, the location of the hospital was C stairway deck 6, which is of course C6, and for a hospital at sea, I think that's brilliant. So nonetheless, you can still write a book, The Antics of C6. I think the author of the time of the doctor on board. Nonetheless, a hospital there. We did have a mortuary. I have been asked if we had a morgue on board, and we did. The hospital here, which frankly none of us know intended except when the 4 months well through. Now the car lift. This was quite something. Cars driving onto the side of the ship, this huge drum turning them, they would be lowered and parked on the QE2 for transatlantic travel. It was quite extraordinary. We could take 80 cars across the Atlantic, which really I think is something indeed. And we're talking Bentley, vintage, Rolls-Royce, really high-end cars at a cost, but frankly the people who over many years. In fact, the QE2 had a refit once every 4 years and had to pass a maritime safety check for the engines every 5. But in the Queen's room in service, what went on? Well, in my 6 years at least, we would have lectures on here, and for example, it was a privilege to meet the astronaut Buzz Aldrin. He lectured on here. We had Concorde pilots. We would have many different celebrities. We would have afternoon tea, white glove silver served. We would have a complimentary dance class, as you can see here. If you fancy having a go at the waltz later, be our guest. You're more than welcome, or the quick step. And in fact, I've got a picture here I'd like to show you now because, where's my phone? Seldom in your life, I believe, do you meet people who influence your life to a great degree? That's my opinion. But actually in 1998, I was ball and dancing in the Queen's room because part of my job was to ball and dance with the single ladies for 2 hours a night. It was a very tough job. We managed it very well indeed. And in fact, enjoyed the cruise, and we did. And in fact, one lady it was a privilege to meet then was the last remaining Titanic passenger survivor. Now that was a pleasure. And she sailed with us to New York, Milby Nadine, and here she is in the middle. She was 2 months old when that ship sunk. She was lowered into a lifeboat, and really, I mean, extraordinary. How she carried on with her life was nothing short of a miracle. But let's have a look there. Milvina, myself, and my colleague. And that was taken in the Queen's Room, all those class cabin, perhaps an upper second class cabin. If you remember around the corner, we suggested that your base cabin was £86. I'd say about £130 here because the portholes increase in class and price. But other than that, a pretty good scale. There would have been an ensuite in here, and that's about it. I mean, these chests of drawers here were brought from the ship. I remember those myself. They were brought here 2 years ago from the QE2. This bed accurate in size, if not in colour. Nothing to stop you rolling off, but welcome to second class. And there could have been a twin or a bunk. These actually were original blankets from the ship. We had 2,500 of these when we were sailing. Glad to say we still have one. And I'm afraid no mobile phones in those days. Your 6-band wave radio, done. That was it. That's all you had. But quite advanced. Even in 1975, when the ship called at Hawaii for the first time, passengers could tune into Radio Honolulu. So, I mean, really quite something indeed. Now, ladies, before we go on board, one for you in particular, let's have a look at these dresses. Gents, Spencer, and these are crimpline in material, and I can see my mum in the blue one for a start. That was definitely mum in the day. My gran probably in the brown one. But these were items of fashion or fashion designs that were worn on board the ship in the 70s. How times have changed. I'm told they're coming back in fashion, but nonetheless, I don't know. I've not been to London for ages. Samsonite, do be careful you don't trip. Samsonite suitcases here. Samsonite, of course, still a height of the travel industry, well, the luggage industry, of course, there. If we had to be classist, which by now you know I hate, but if we did, I would say these were second class, because your first was Louis Vuitton trunks by the score, Cartier, Gucci. I mean, it very much was like that in those days. And in fact, the QE2 was the first ship to have a seagoing Louis Vuitton on board, so a little bit more luxury there.
Guys, you can have a check of my view tonight in the EQ Queen Elizabeth ship. There's that down decker where people are enjoying, but there are not so many because it's not a cheap place. You have to dig in from your pocket. And this is my view. And up we go to the top deck where we are going to have our dinner.